What's up, Brigade? How are you? It's a Wednesday. It is a new episode of the Bostonian versus the Book, BVB as we call it. My name is Matt Peralta. We are live on YouTube and on X. Handle is at Boston versus the Book, replayed on Sports Grid TV every night, late night, and audio podcasts, wherever you guys get your audio podcasts. Today on the show, we're going to bounce between college football and the NFL a lot today. I've not gotten involved with the college football playoff bracket conversation. We're going to do that during the opening line. From a betting perspective and a money perspective, you know, this show, we don't get into the weeds of the college football debates as to other shows, just because I like to look at things from a money and betting perspective. But the Irish against the Miami Hurricane argument has it all. It has argumentative points on either side. It has evidence to back you up on either side. There is a ton of money in play here for the ACC champion, the ACC conference, Notre Dame, and whoever else might find their way into the college football playoff. And we have just a basic football, basic numbers argument to be had on head to head as to who played who beat who deserves a shot. So we'll get to that with the 12-team playoff bracket being revealed last night. It is week 14 of the NFL. Evan Abrams of the Action Network. We go through his incredible primer every week, and there are some unreal nuggets, betting nuggets for week 14, starting tomorrow between the Lions and the Cowboys. We will get to that. I have to find out, and maybe you guys in the Brigade in the chat, you guys can help me, but I have to find out, when did Giants fans become this soft? Like, when did this happen? What has happened? Like, Jet fans have been this soft forever. Like, we've JETS, joke. That's just been their MO. But the Giants, I always had I had a higher level of respect for Giants fans. I had a level, like, this is one of the marquee franchises of the NFL. The Mara family, the New York Giants, like, this is Bill Parcells and Lawrence Taylor. And like, these are, you know, there are historic memories I have for the New York Giants that are being tarnished entirely around this Jackson Dart thing. Like, it is embarrassing. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the program. And then we'll talk, obviously, about the store. If you haven't gone to the store yet, I'll explain more as to what's going on with us in terms of the store, because good stuff here. I'll give you a quick update as to where we are with the Share Pen collection with the 150 items. We are way down, like under half left for the items. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the program. We start the show as we do every single day, talking about, well, the big story of the day. It is the opening line. All right, opening line for us, it's all about drama, right? So let's just kind of rewind for a second and go back to the beginning of the college football conversation around playoffs. So the Big Ten was the stick in the mud, and they did not want anything to do with the playoff for a very long time. They fought it. Jim Delaney, the longtime head of the Big Ten, was adamant that, like, we are not doing a college football playoff. Well, when it became inevitable that we were going to do a college football playoff, there was this thought around Notre Dame joining the Big Ten that it made total sense for the Irish to go and join the Big Ten, because if they weren't part of a conference, were they going to be at a disadvantage because they were not part of a conference, and they would not have a conference championship game, which was an automatic qualifying opportunity for a team from a Power 5, Power 4 now conference. And so the Irish said, we don't want it. We like our independence. We're going to keep ourselves away from having to deal with anybody telling us what to do. We're going to schedule who we want, and we're going to sign a deal with NBC, and we're going to keep 100% of the money that we get from that television contract. It's going to be ours. So the Irish have always walked around with this air about them that they are above the fray, right? They are the Irish. This is touchdown Jesus. This is, we do what we want when we want to do it. And we expect you to fall in line when it comes time to reward us and give us what we need and what we deserve. You're going to do it. The Irish are in a very unique spot here going into the weekend because they have no control over whether or not they get in to the playoff or not. And this is, and let me remind you about the amount of money we are talking about here as to the Irish keep 100% of the money that they make when they get to the playoff. For making the college football playoff, you get $4 million. For making the quarterfinals, you get an additional $4 million. Making the semifinals, you get $6 million. And I forget how much money the final is. You get another $6 million for each round. So if you go to the semifinal and the final, you make $6 million. Everybody splits that. That's a conference payout. Okay. That is a conference payout, except for the Irish. Notre Dame keeps all of that money. So when we're talking about the playoff and we're talking about who gets in and who gets out, this is a really big deal to talk about the money as to what Notre Dame is looking at. Because if you're the ACC, what do you care if Miami is in or not? Because you're going to get the $4 million. Now, you would like to get, obviously, more than one team in, right? So you have Duke and Virginia who are playing in the ACC championship game. And so that winner is going to get in. Automatic bid. They're in. So then that leaves Miami. You would take the additional $4 million. Like, don't get me wrong. They want it. But when the bracket came out last night, I looked at it and I was like, okay, you have the Irish getting jumped by Alabama. And that is the biggest news of the day, because now that 10 spot is going to be the final at-large bid spot for the bracket. All right. So you have 11 and 12. Those are going to be held by the conference champion from the group of 5, and the other conference champion from the group of 5 championship wise. It's probably going to wind up, North Texas and probably Tulane is probably who's going to be getting those 2 spots, which is kind of crazy, right? We talk about having 2 group of 5 teams in the playoff. But the Irish, where they are seated, where they are put into the bracket at 10, you have BYU and Miami, the first 2 teams who are out. The rest of the rankings don't matter, okay? The rest of the top 25, it does not matter. For the purpose of this argument and conversation, it does not matter where the committee put who. So you can go argue about who's 20 and 21. You can go do that all you want. But I am a big believer about head-to-head, okay? When teams play on the field, I don't care if it was week 1 or week 100. If we have a head-to-head, we have to go and say, Miami beat Notre Dame. Okay? If we're arguing about Miami and Notre Dame as to who gets in, because if Texas Tech beats BYU, Texas Tech is in and BYU is out. And so that last at-large bid comes down to 2 teams. So cross out BYU. Notre Dame's the 10 seed, right? So they're the last at-large spot. And then the team right afterwards is Miami, looking at getting in. Miami beat Notre Dame. Miami beat Notre Dame. Okay? If Miami beats Notre Dame head-to-head, I don't understand how in the world you put the Irish into the college football playoff over Miami. It doesn't make any sense. So, to me, I'm going, okay, how does Alabama, Georgia factor into this? They're both in, okay? So if Georgia wins, Georgia's going to, move up and be where Georgia is, okay? But Alabama losing, they're in. The committee has shown they do not penalize a loser of a conference championship game. That's been their precedent. So Alabama's not going anywhere, okay? So if you're looking at the bracket and being like, well, if Bama loses to Georgia, no, Georgia goes to the 4 seed, okay? If Georgia loses, they're going to go to the 4 seed. Texas Tech wins, they go to the 3 seed. Ohio State and Indiana, they're both 1 or 2. They're not going to drop below that for losing the Big Ten title game. So they're just going to switch. If Indiana beats Ohio State, they just switch. If Ohio State beats Indiana, Indiana's not dropping. Okay, maybe they go to 3 and Texas Tech goes to 2, but they're not dropping out of the top 4. The committee has shown that they're not going to do that. So Alabama, if they win, they move up. They get a home game if they beat Georgia, but they don't move out of the playoff bracket. They'll stay in the bracket, obviously, if they win. If they lose, they probably drop down to 10 but Bama's not going anywhere. So now maybe there's a chance that you're going to move the Irish up to 9. Potentially they jump Alabama. And then what do? You're not going to have Miami jump Alabama. That's not going to happen. Crimson Tide are in. So if it goes chalk, like we think it, Georgia beats Alabama, Texas Tech beats BYU, it comes down to Miami and Notre Dame. It comes down to that argument. CG is asking, if Bama loses, how are they still in? The committee has shown they do not penalize you for being in a conference championship game and losing that game. Okay? So it would be very surprising for Alabama to get knocked out. If they lose to Georgia, it would be very surprising. Alabama's in. I would be stunned if the Crimson Tide are not in, even with 3 losses. And I understand people will clamor about it, but it will be conference championships, and they've beaten Georgia head-to-head already this year. So Georgia beating Alabama, it doesn't mean you take Alabama out. So even though people don't like that, Bama's in. Okay? Bama's in. I don't agree. Zach says if Bama loses and BYU wins, they could be out. There's the potential for that. But again, the committee has shown that's how Notre Dame and Miami are both out. That's worse for the Irish in my mind. That's not bad for Alabama. That's bad for the Irish if that happens. So if you want to keep Miami and Notre Dame both out, frankly, I think the committee would prefer this. If the committee can leave both the Irish and the Hurricanes out, it solves a big problem. Okay? That solves a huge, potential argument about that bracket. If you're able to leave out both the Irish and Miami. But this is turning really interesting to me because we've decided to expand this. All right. Just because we're expanding to 16 doesn't necessarily mean that this argument is going to be over. And this is exactly what the committee likes. The committee loves this. Like, this is what there was always this worry about the college football playoff diminishing the regular season, right? Well, the committee has a pretty important decision to make if it does come down to to BYU, to Alabama, Notre Dame, and whether or not head-to-head matters. Because Miami in the regular season beat Notre Dame. So if you determine that the regular season game does not matter because your eye test tells you or metrics tell you that the Irish are better, that's a huge problem because the Irish's schedule sucks. Like, there is no way around you can tell me that Notre Dame played a great schedule. Yeah, they lost on the road by 1 point to Texas A&M, who is one of the top 4 seeds. Okay, fine. They had a really tight game against Miami, but they lost that game. But the teams that the Irish have played, 2-10 Purdue, 2-10 Arkansas, 2-10 Boston College, 3-9 Syracuse, 4-8 Stanford, and 7-5 NC State. Like, are we gonna run and pound our chests about the Irish's schedule? And you can say, well, Matt, Miami plays in the ACC. The ACC is pretty bad. They just play who's on their schedule, and it's not the Irish's fault that they are victimized now because of the lack of talent from an Arkansas team that was supposed to be good, and they trounced them. They got Sam Pittman fired, right? Notre Dame went to Arkansas and destroyed the Irish. Auto bids were created to guarantee that the committee couldn't do this. This is why auto bids, and this is why I am so adamant about the 16-team playoff going forward. It must have auto bids built in because this conversation shouldn't be happening when it comes to one of the top 5, 10 seeds, right? I'm okay with having this argument about 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm cool with the argument, right? And I'm not that angry because if you're the 11 seed or 10 seed or whatever, down, you're probably not winning the national championship. Most likely you're not winning the national championship. So I'm okay with this argument of having it about one of the at-large because we do it every year with the NCAA tournaments in men's basketball. So I'm cool with having this argument, but it's not catastrophic. This is not a fault that could be, a death blow to a bracket. when it comes to, well, you can't do this and leave that team out. But I think on field has to matter more than someone's opinion. Like, again, if it shakes out this way, we have to say that someone's opinion can't supersede what happens on the field. But again, we look at this from a betting perspective. These odds are completely messed up. Look at FanDuel this morning. The odds for who makes the playoffs. The Miami Hurricanes are plus 490 to make the playoffs. Notre Dame is minus 480 to make the playoffs. Again, if we go chalk, and it's Texas Tech wins and Georgia wins in the SEC championship, and I don't think the Georgia-Alabama game matters all that much for who is in and who is out. I think it matters more about the seedings as to who's seeding where. I think Bama's in. But how in the world are those odds real? Notre Dame lost to Miami, and you're telling me it's 5-1 or 1-5 that the Irish are that big of a favorite to get in to the postseason because of why? I am struggling to find some type of rationalization for the Irish to be that big of a favorite over Miami. And that's all we do, right? We look at this from a numbers perspective. I'm not arguing. I'm not getting into the weeds about schedule strength and conferences and whether or not the Irish should be in a conference. I think it factors into the number. I think it factors into whether or not Miami is going to get in, because I don't think there's this perception that Miami is very good, but I haven't been that high on the Irish. I bet against the Irish, and with Arkansas, I was dead wrong about that, obviously, but I haven't been that high. I don't like Carr all that much at the quarterback spot. Freeman's been okay at the as the head coach, and yeah, they played for it all last year, and I get it, but that was a lot of Riley Leonard last year for the Irish. The money was supposed to be taken out of this. We were supposed to eliminate this. But not everybody agrees, okay? Not everyone is 100% on board with this. Article on Yahoo Sports, Notre Dame's college football playoff status suddenly looks fragile after drop in rankings. But don't tell that to the bookmakers. The bookmakers believe that the Irish are in. That number tells me the Irish are in. That's a pretty good bet. If you think the committee is going to hold the form, if the committee is going to do what they have done in the past, okay, and let's just go by what I've talked about. One, you don't get penalized for losing a college football championship game, okay? You don't get penalized for that, so you don't get bounced out of the playoffs. If you're going into championship weekend and you're playing in a conference championship game, you're in. So the Bama jumps Notre Dame, okay? So the committee moves them to 10. They put the tied at 9. And they very well might just leave Alabama at 9, win or lose. Okay. It doesn't matter what happens against Georgia in Atlanta this weekend. Bama's the 9 seed. So let's just operate under that pretense. So Bama's the 9. The 10's the conversation. The Irish aren't playing this weekend, and Miami's not playing this weekend. Duke and Virginia will play for the auto bid. That will be the 11 or the 12 seed. And then the group of 5 team is the 12. So the ACC winner will be the 11. And the winner of the group of 5, probably Tulane, will be in. Or North Texas. I guess it's argument. North Texas, depending on how they rank it. But who cares? They're going to get killed. Whoever they play, they're going to get killed. So you have 12-11 already spoken for. If you leave Bama at 9, the question is all about the 10. And if the Irish are getting that spot, the committee will be going against precedent. Because precedent is head-to-head matters. And when these teams play head-to-head, this should put Miami in. But again, the ACC is going to have their $4 million check. The Irish will not. I don't think this is a debate. I don't think this should be a debate. If this shakes out the way it's supposed to shake out, the Miami Hurricanes should get in. If the committee does what the committee has done in the past. Now, if BYU beats Texas Tech, all bets are off. Both of them are out. Miami and Notre Dame are both out. So let's just go chalk. Texas Tech in, Georgia, Alabama. I am putting Miami in. Head to head has to matter. Your schedule has to matter. The ACC cannot be out, Zach. It's an auto bid. It cannot be out. Remember, this is why we have auto bids. Okay. I'm not saying that Duke or Virginia, Duke or Virginia shouldn't be in. I would take them both out. Okay. I'll give that to you. But this is why I like auto bids, because if you win a conference, you should get rewarded for that victory. And even though Duke and Virginia are both not deserving of that large bids, they get the auto bid. They're in, they get to play. I know football's not basketball. I get it, but there is the same, in my mind, a same methodology about why I'm putting an ACC champion every year into the bracket. Okay, I think auto bids matter to me. They're very important because I don't like people in conference rooms at some Holiday Inn in some place in Indianapolis is going to sit there and say they don't deserve to be in. I don't like that. But if the committee, looks at the ACC and says, well, your tiebreaker situation sucks. Miami should be in that game. And that's the truth, right? If it comes down to the tie-breaking situation, the ACC's got to figure that out, right? And some people have said that they should go and rip it up and put Miami into this game and say, hey, it's better for the conference. Let's put Miami up against, I think it'll be up against Virginia. Let's take Duke out and put Miami in. Miami beats Virginia. Miami gets an automatic bid. We eliminate this conversation. There is no debate. Miami's in because they take the automatic bid. So this is going to be really, no, you know what? I can't even say Duke is last year's Boise. You mean in terms of getting killed? Maybe. Duke in this, someone said, yeah, Ish, I agree. Duke being in the bracket would be hilarious. 100% would be hilarious. They're getting whoever they play is going to steamroll Duke. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out. And so, right, Zach saying top 5 conference champs. Who is jumping the ACC? What conference is going to be given an automatic bid ahead? So the ACC is a top 5 conference. It's a Power 4 conference, right? I mean, that's where we are. So the ACC is getting an at-large bid. No, the Mountain West or the American, no one's jumping the ACC. That's just not happening. So forget about that. So I'll be very curious to see how the committee handles this argument. Now, again, it expands to 16 next year, but it comes down to money. Somebody said it's a TV show. Yes. 100% it's a TV show. But if you're an Irish fan and you see what the books are doing, you're sleeping pretty well right now. I mean, that's a huge number. And I'm not saying the bookmakers know everything, and I'm not saying that the market dictates and the market can make decisions. But if you're arguing Miami versus Notre Dame on Saturday night, if we're arguing as to who is in and who is out of the playoffs, and if this thing goes chalk, the betting markets are telling you it's already determined. That conversation is over. It is going to be Notre Dame in, even though they lost head-to-head to Miami. No. And I'm not one to stand on the table for a Miami Hurricane team because I don't think they're very good either. But if you beat the Irish and you have the same record, how do you put them in? Oh, it happened in week 1. It doesn't matter. You can't play that card. That doesn't fly. It just doesn't fly to me. Your schedule is your schedule. It's the body of work. Oh, it's the eye test. No, I thought we got rid of that. The Irish have been killing people. They've been mauling people. They just look better than Miami does. We got rid of that, guys. We got rid of that on purpose. Okay. Because we're not going to argue about what somebody thinks. We're going to argue about what a team did. And if we're talking in that way, I don't know how in the world you leave Miami out. Makes no sense. They should be in. If I'm betting that, you're only taking Miami plus 490, 5-1. That's the only play. You can't lay the $5 with the Irish. No way. No way. But if you wanted to bet it, betting on Miami is not horrible. Let's talk about what happened last night. All right, what happened last night? Thanksgiving games were historic. We got the numbers from the TV ratings from Thanksgiving. Huge numbers. We're talking historic numbers. We'll start with the early game. Green Bay against Detroit. 47.7 million people watched. That was the most watched game in the regular season on Fox ever. Ever. It peaked at 58 million people watching between 4 and 4:15 Eastern. Huge numbers. The most watched early Thanksgiving Day game ever. Ever in that early window. Marquee teams, marquee games, quality football, good games. The most streamed Thanksgiving Day game and regular season game across Fox streaming platforms ever. So people, when we're talking about the NFL owning Thanksgiving and owning people's attention, essentially, like, who wasn't watching that game? Like, who wasn't watching Packers and the Lions on Thanksgiving? Because then it rolled right to the Chiefs and the Cowboys, which, if we have that many people watching the first game, you would then assume the record would fall for the afternoon game, which is what happened. Cowboys Chiefs, that game drew 57 million, which is the same peak number that we saw for the Packers and the Lions on CBS, shattering the record for the most watched NFL regular season game ever recorded. More people watched Dallas and Kansas City on Thanksgiving during the regular season than we have ever had before. So all this idea that there could be a problem, the NFL is not pulling good ratings, I mean, unbelievable. Wait a minute. Dirt, is that true? Is Marcus Freeman going to Penn State? Or are you just speculating on that? Marcus Freeman going to Penn State would be wild. Is that a rumor or is that real? And you're right. Dave would be freaking out about Penn State getting Marcus Freeman. Actually, I think he would like it. He liked Marcus Freeman. Okay, so J. Stephen Casey is saying no, that's not being reported. Okay, that's just a conversation. Freeman that would be a huge get for Penn State. Penn State has totally bungled that coaching search up to this point. Now they could pull a rabbit out of the hat. Marcus Freeman would be an unbelievable get for Penn State if they could pull him away from Notre Dame. But my God, which job's better, Notre Dame or Penn State? I would say Notre Dame is much better, like much better. Like, you got turned down by the coach from BYU. He stayed. So I think they've tried to hire like five guys, and they've all said no, and they've all used it to get raises at their current jobs. So nobody wants that Penn State job, which is kind of surprising. So that would be Marcus Freeman if that happens, but that would be, I don't know. That would be tough. Yeah, that's a good point. I saw that too, that Penn State's recruiting for next year is behind Harvard for their recruiting class. That would be crazy. Yeah, it's for now. Like, everyone's like, you better get somebody in that job immediately, because everybody is jumping ship from Penn State that committed to Penn State. But anyways, back to the numbers. I think it's wild to see. We've always seen Thanksgiving being owned by the NFL. That's just been a staple. But these numbers tell me that people like watching football on holidays a lot right now, which is not a surprise. You put good games, good teams, people watch. Now, Thanksgiving has always been the NFL's. Christmas has always been the NBA. That's been their marquee. That's what they built the day. They put marquee games. They build it up. That's where the NBA has lived from a holiday standpoint. New Year's Day has always been college football. Well, the NFL has taken over both. The NFL is saying, yeah, that's great. We're playing on not just Black Friday, but we're playing on Christmas, and we're playing on New Year's Eve. We're playing on New Year's Day. We're going to play whenever we want and wherever we want, and we're going to dominate. We're going to dominate. So, yeah, and the Christmas games are kind of eh. So let's see what it looks like when we do get to Christmas but the games might actually really matter. The difference with it, like Christmas Day is Dallas at Washington, Detroit at Minnesota, and Denver at Kansas City. Denver at Kansas City is on Prime. The first two are on Netflix. So let's see what the numbers are, because we have obviously broadcast TV and we've got cable. We've got YouTube TV and Fubo and all the other streaming platforms for Fox and for CBS. Plus, you got the over-the-air rabbit ear people, and you get just your traditional people who are watching on cable. So all those numbers rolled up, delivered a huge audience for the first two games on Thanksgiving. The late game wasn't that good. It was, the numbers weren't that impressive, but the game, it's because of when it was late. It was 8:00 at night. It was Bengals and Ravens. So I'm sure it did fine, but nothing compared to the first two. This game on Christmas between Denver and Kansas City on Prime has the chance to be gigantic. I mean, gigantic. That could be, depending on where KC is, depending on where the Chiefs are after they play the next couple of games, that could be an elimination game. The Broncos could end the Chiefs season on Christmas. So all I'm saying is that Denver better not ruin my Christmas. Yeah. There's some conversations to be had with that. So Christmas Day games are okay. Dallas, Washington is historic, but it's the 1:00 game on Netflix and Washington is out. The Vikings stink. Detroit might need it, but they might not. If they lose to Dallas tomorrow night, not sure how much that game's going to matter by the time we get to Christmas. So that might just be, an exhibition game. But then Denver and KC has the potential to be the monster, but that's not on Netflix. That's on Prime Video. So been a lot of Detroit and Dallas in prime time here, and Denver and KC too, for that matter, over the last couple of weeks. So the Sunday games are okay, but there's a bunch of games that might get flexed. So we don't know, like the Patriots and the Jets game, that was being looked at for a little bit, but the NFL has reserved like Baltimore at Green Bay, Houston at the Chargers, Seattle at Carolina, Arizona at the Bengals. There's been 5 games reserved for flex to be moved to Sunday night. We don't know which game will get moved to Sunday night. We'll find that out here in a week or so for what game happens for that Christmas holiday weekend going over. Excuse me. I was looking at, December 31st. Okay, we're wide open. We don't know yet, but they're going to play on New Year's Eve. They're going to play on New Year's Day. Like, we just don't know which games are being when and how, but that's, the NFL used to try to stay away from the college football New Year's Eve, New Year's Day holiday. They don't care anymore. They're just going to take it over and whenever they want. Yesterday, I asked the question about some of the media members for the New York Giants going, what's going on? Because this was the meltdown that happened. And this guy, Pat Boyle, I don't know who he is. I've been giving him so much run, but he actually challenged Matt Chapman, the former Patriot, to an Oklahoma drill competition. I don't know how big Pat Boyle is. I don't know if Pat Boyle ever played real football or not. He played in the NFL or not. I do know Matt Chapman personally. I have interviewed Matt. I've hung out with Matt. He's an Iowa guy. Matt is an absolute beast. Like a beast. If you forget who Matt Chapman is, do you remember during the first Patriots Super Bowl with Tom Brady? Do you remember the guy who was naked, who had the offshore sports book written on his back, and he went streaking through the field? Do you remember the guy who clotheslined that guy during the Super Bowl? That's Matt Chapman. Okay. NFL linebacker. Awesome barbecue. He's got an unbelievable line of barbecue rubs that he's just put out. I'm blanking on the name. Chat, do me a favor. Look up Matt Chapman's rubs. That sounds odd, but his barbecue rubs. Look it up because I forget the name of it. So I want to give him love for this. But that guy, Pat Boyle, challenged Matt Chapman to an Oklahoma drill. Like, I don't know if that guy survives if he were to go ahead and do that. Okay. I'm not sure that guy actually lives if that actually were to happen. I'm all in though. I will pay whatever I got to pay to watch that. Put that on pay-per-view. No, it's not called smoke. Matt Chapman barbecue rub. Put that into Google. People are saying they're afraid to do it. Is it called smoke? I don't think so. I have it upstairs. He sent me 2 bottles of it. I have it in my kitchen. I forget the name of it. He's going to kill me because he sent it to me. I'm supposed to sorry, on this, but he's an Iowa guy who does barbecue, who's a former Patriot, who is now being challenged by media members. No, Meat Church is tremendous. Oh, Meat Church is that's like bow down. No, that's not Meat Church. Like bow down. So you have all these giant people. When did the Giants become the Giant fans? When did they become this soft? Because it continued last night with people in my mentions who called the hit on Jackson Dart legal but dirty. Can't tell me celebrating a man being nearly knocked unconscious is tasteful, talking about Gunnar Olszewski. They wouldn't do this with a broken leg, but brain damage, that's cool. What are we talking about? And then Vrabel is still out there looking for revenge from the helmet catch. Hope he feels like he got it. These people, this is a fan of the Giants and a media member for the Giants who are both equally talking that Mike Vrabel taking Jackson Dart out of the ball game was clearly communicated to his team before this game. What happened to the New York Giant fan base? When did we become this soft? When did you guys become like literal babies about the game of football? Like Jackson Dart, he's even saying, I'm going to play the way I'm going to play. Big hits are part of the game. It was a shoulder-to-shoulder hit that's been replayed 8,000 times. He was inbounds. He got hit by a linebacker, shoulder-to-shoulder. He got sent flying because he's a smaller guy than the guy who hit him. And Gunnar Olszewski is a kick returner who's running full speed and kickoff. If you get hit in the head in a kickoff situation, that's part of it. Okay. You're being paid thousands of dollars to play football. I don't like that the guy got hurt, but the Patriots flying around and decking people, that's football. It's a violent sport. If you don't like violence, don't watch football. It's that easy. It's that simple. It's like watching an MMA fight and complaining about blood. Like if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's that simple. And the Giants think we're playing two-hand touch all of a sudden, and like we want flags and go play flag football. Like I don't understand. Yeah, I would agree. At this point, Giants fan base is almost worse than the Jets. Almost. The Jets are bad, and this is a typical New York Jet conversation. 100%. Jet fan would do this. Jet fan, like this is how you would hang your hat on this stuff about Vrabel ordering a code red, that Vrabel said take Jackson Dart out, that celebrating a Gunnar Olszewski big hit on him and his helmet getting broken, that all of a sudden we're celebrating this. No one's celebrating the injury. They're celebrating the hit. They're celebrating the fact that the Patriots are flying around. And everyone is running around wanting investigations. I've seen people calling for an investigation into Mike Vrabel and whether or not this Pat Boyle guy knows anything about the Patriots, like, bounty gate with the Saints, that here the Patriots coaching staff told their team to take them out. Unbelievable. And if you, by the way, this is awesome. If you haven't seen, next time the Giants QB does an interview, they should start off by asking him what's between a river and an ocean. I tweeted this. Go to my Twitter account. You can see this. If you want to know why Jackson Dart will not slide, even when he's told to slide, it's because of the way he's not operating with a full deck. Okay. he's not the brightest bulb. He just isn't. Okay. Go. I don't want to give it all away, but go watch the video at Sports Talk Matt. Go to my Twitter account, watch the video from Jackson Dart, because he is, one might call him challenged in some capacity. Educationally challenged might be a word for that for the Giants. All right. Evan Abrams, week 14 primer, Action Network. It's tremendous. We start this conversation looking at the playoff picture here with the Patriots and the Bears occupying the number 1 seed. The Patriots are occupying it because they have one more win than the Broncos, but the Pats will be off when Denver beats the Raiders this weekend. Denver will be the 1 seed based upon common opponent, and the Broncos have a better record because the Patriots lost to the Raiders, and the Broncos will have gone 2-0 against the Raiders. So the Broncos will be the 1 seed. The Patriots will be the 2 seed. That will fluctuate as we go throughout the year, as we come down the stretch fighting. But you have a 2 seed Broncos, 3 seed Jaguars, which is Like, wow. 4 seed Ravens, because they lead the division. Now, you want to talk about should they be the 4 seed? I don't know. Chargers as the 5, the first wild card team. The Colts and the Bills occupy the 6 and the 7 seed in the AFC. The NFC is much better. Number 1 seed Bears, number 2 seed Rams, number 3 seed Eagles. Eagles Packers in the first round would be awesome. Bucks are the 4. Seattle going to the Eastern time zone would be awesome. Put Seattle in Tampa. Yes, please. Okay. I have a 14-1 ticket on Seattle, and I have an 11-1 ticket on the Patriots. The Lions, the Cowboys, and the Panthers are, quote, in the hunt. The Texans, Steelers, and Chiefs, which is crazy. Those are normally playoff teams in the AFC. They're also in the hunt. So let's look at some of these numbers here for week 14. Entering week 14, we have 17 teams listed below 50-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. If you thought it felt wide open this year, you would be correct, because it is. It is wide open for the NFL for the Super Bowl. It's the most for any season dating back to 2010, and the previous high was 15 teams in 2017. That is crazy. You look at the odds and what we are here, what we're looking at for the it's small, but like, go to the bottom. The Bears, who are the 1 seed. The Bears are the 1 seed in the NFC, and it's a 25-1 ticket on the Bears to win the Super Bowl. The Patriots are now down to 12-1 odds. The Bills have jumped the Patriots. They're now 11-1 odds. Why? I have no idea why people are betting Buffalo. Like, my God, that's just taking a position. Okay, go right ahead. But the Bills better win this weekend. Like, they better win this weekend. And then if Joe Burrow does the most hysterical thing, if Joe Burrow and the Bengals beats the Bills this weekend, the Bills may not make the playoffs. So I'd be careful buying that Buffalo Bills Super Bowl ticket. They may not make the playoffs. The same thing goes for the Chiefs. I've seen people this morning say, take the Chiefs, bet the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl because their numbers have gotten so out of whack. It's Patrick Mahomes. If they lose this weekend, it's over. If the Chiefs lose this weekend, kiss it goodbye. So, like, you're basically buying a ticket that could be dead right after you buy it from a futures perspective. So I'm not sure how excited I would be to run in there and be like, yeah, let's go ahead and bet on Kansas City against Houston. We'll get more to that game here in a second on Sunday Night Football, with the Texans needing that game as much as the Chiefs needing that game. So that's a de facto elimination game. So it is wild to see how wide open this is. How wide open. Oh, thank you. It's Rub Smoke Love for Matt Chapman's. Thank you. Barbecue stuff. I'll bring that down tomorrow. I got a bottle of it upstairs. So we're wide open. Okay. Bottom line, we are wide open here for who wins the Super Bowl. There's all sorts of great odds out there in the market. If you like building portfolios, this is a perfect year to do it. You can take shots. I mean, literally, again, the Bears are the 1 seed in the NFC, which is by far the more talented division, but it's, the Bears' schedule, and that's why their record is what the record is. But still, 25-1 on the Bears. I mean, then it goes, there's some really interesting teams that are going to be playoff teams that are down. Ravens, look at, you drop some of these numbers. The Lions, 22-1. The Ravens, 15-1. The Broncos, 12-1. Patriots, 12-1. I mean, you get some pretty good prices right now if you want to build a portfolio for the Super Bowl. NFC West, 23-10 against the spread when they face teams outside their own division. So if you're looking at this, the Rams and the Cardinals play each other this week. So that counteracts, that crosses that off. But Seattle against Atlanta this week would be a good team to bet on. Now it's 7 or 7.5. I know it's a West Coast team going east, but it's Seattle, and Seattle plays well against Atlanta. They played well in the Eastern time zone. Mike McDonald's a great coach when it comes to what happens on the road. So you want that game? That's a great game to jump into. Seattle laying it. And then the other game is there's Seattle, Arizona. Where's the fourth? Why am I blanking on the fourth team in the division? Arizona, LA is there. Oh, it must be a bye week. Okay. So just check out the NFC West, in terms of how that winds up going. Oh, San Francisco is off. Yeah, they're on a bye. Okay. San Fran's not playing. Bye week for the 49ers. So the only game to bet on this, to follow that trend this week, would be to take the Seattle Seahawks on the road laying 7 against Atlanta. I like Seattle. On the flip side, the AFC North is 12-21-1 against the spread, facing teams outside their division. So that would mean bet the Bills this weekend. Bills against the Bengals. So take the Bills to win and cover in that game. Baltimore and Pittsburgh are playing each other, but the Browns are playing against Tennessee. And if you're looking at the race to the bottom, the flip side as to who is the worst teams in football, I mean, the Titans beating the Browns would be hysterical. That would be a riot. If you're looking for your team, if you're a Giant fan or you're someone else that wants to kind of like go down, I think it's pretty interesting to see how this plays out for the number one pick. If the Titans were to beat the Browns, it follows this, or at least they cover against the Browns. It would follow this. Browns are favored this coming weekend. Let's go to Thursday night. Tomorrow night, Dallas against Detroit. Now, I got 3.5 before this number dropped to 3, but I still think Dallas is the side at 3. But in Jared Goff's career, he is 24-8 ATS indoors off a straight up loss, which is pretty impressive, and just 10-14-1 against the number when playing outdoors in that situation. As a head coach, Dan Campbell is 25-15 off a loss against the spread. They were 13-0 before the game against the Giants. Yeah, against the Giants. They lost to the Eagles, and then they didn't cover against the Bears. They were big favorites against the Bears. They didn't cover against the Bears, but they did. They won the game in overtime. So this is 13-1. They lost last week. They now head here into this game against Dallas. Numbers would say take the Lions. However, since the start of 2022, Dak Prescott has started 9 games in an early week spot, meaning Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a game played before Sunday. The Cowboys are 8-1 straight up in those games with Dak Prescott at the quarterback spot. Equally, Dak Prescott has been tremendous in primetime. He has been a primetime darling to bet on. I like, with the banged up secondary, banged up defense, so many injuries for the Lions, Cowboys defense playing so well. I think they stopped the running game. And if you stop the running game, and Amon St. Brown is probably not playing. Okay. He hasn't practiced. The ankle injury is pretty significant for him. Best wide receiver for the Lions is out for this game, most likely. I like Dallas +3, Dallas money line on top of that. The division game that everyone's going to be talking about and watching, the Ravens or Packers Bears or Ravens Steelers. Ravens are laying 5.5 points in this game. These are the games that Dave would talk about a ton. You bet the dog. You bet the Steelers every time, no matter who is the dog. Why? Well, since 2005, the underdog in the Ravens and Steelers series is 29-12-3. That's a 71% clip cover rate for the dog. In the regular season, when the line is above 3 or more, which it is right now, it's 5.5. The underdog is 23-5-3 against the number. Like, that's just an autoplay. Like, that's just like you're taking the Steelers. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It doesn't matter what Rodgers looks like. It doesn't matter who is in, who is out from a defensive perspective. It doesn't matter. You take the dog. Just close your eyes and take the dog. Steelers +5.5. Trends are there. They're not always right, but in this series, they're pretty right. Packers and the Bears. Packers are laying 6.5 points in this game. 6.5 points. I don't recommend parlaying, but if you are somebody that wants to parlay, if you are someone looking at a money line parlay, here's the thing. The Packers don't lose this game. In December, the Packers don't lose this game. Now, they don't cover all that much, but Matt LaFleur at home in December, when he has 10 or more days to prep like he does here, is 10-1 straight up. LaFleur is 4-0 straight up in the month of December, 6-1 straight up in December or later. Okay. This guy doesn't lose at home in the month of December. He doesn't cover all that much, but he wins the game outright. On the same level, the Bears are 1-11 straight up against the Packers in their last 12 meetings. 2-10 ATS in those games. So maybe I was 1 week early. I thought the Eagles were going to expose the Bears. And I know this morning everybody went to the Wiener Circle in Chicago and they lined up for free hot dogs. Tell me in the chat, guys, what food item would you wait outside in the freezing cold to get for free? Because a hot dog, and I know a Chicago dog is more of a meal than it is just a hot dog, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how much is that hot dog at the Wiener Circle in Chicago? I've never been. I've been to Chicago a bunch. I've never gone to the Wiener Circle. I haven't done the whole touristy thing in Chicago. But how much money is that thing? $5? $4.50? Whatever it might be. People were waiting in the freezing cold in December Chicago weather this morning because Ben Johnson took his shirt off. And the Wiener Circle people said, if Ben Johnson takes his shirt off in celebration of a game, we're going to give everybody free hot dogs. Like, if I'm waiting outside for something, I need something more. Like, I need something more than that. Like, I don't understand this whole thing. Like, I want a free, like, dozen donuts. Like, I want like a full meal, not a hot dog. Not just a hot dog. I don't know what in the world was going on this. Guys in the chat. Okay, I walked into that. Thank you. What would you wait in line for? Yes. Seeing the chat. I can't put it on the screen. Fine. Yes. Ian, thank you for being appropriate. A filet? Sure. Yes. You know, there are like meals I'll wait in line for. I'm not waiting in line. There's not really any food. Would you wait in line for I was going to say a Runyon, but you're not from Nebraska. You're from Iowa. Runyons are awful. Runza, right? Runza. Those. How about a no? That's Houston. Galoshes are Houston. What's the Iowa food that I'm forgetting? Other than like a come and go pizza. On this, they're $7. So okay, so you're telling me I'm going to waste hours of my day, and I'm going to freeze to wait in line for a $7 hot dog in Chicago? What are we doing? Like, what are we doing in Chicago right now? Is it just because you're a Bear fan and you want to like jump in on the fun? I have no idea. It makes no sense to me whatsoever why people were waiting in line this morning with that. So anything fried in the Midwest? I don't know, man. Fried butter is pretty weird, Sonic. You ever had fried butter? Fried butter's weird. The Iowa State Fair, they fry everything, like literally sticks of butter. Unbelievable. Like, no. So I can't say fried anything because they do fry everything in Iowa at the state fair. Yeah, I agree, Chef Benny. It's a time to money ratio thing. Completely, I agree. $7 a shrimp po' boy. They're not bad. Shrimp po' boy. My Vegas soft is showing. Sure, it's a $7 hot dog, Joel. It's a $7 hot dog. Like, I've got better things to do. I'll buy it myself. If I want a Wiener Circle dog that badly, I will buy a $7 hot dog myself if I need to. Oh, that's pretty good though. I'd wait 2 hours too for Joe's Barbecue in KC. Oklahoma Joe's too. You're talking about Oklahoma Joe's, right? Not just Joe's Barbecue, but Oklahoma Joe's. 100%. For the burnt ends alone, I'd wait 2 hours. 100%. There's restaurants that I would wait in line for full meals. I'm sorry, a hot dog is not a meal. We can get into the whole conversation about is a hot dog a sandwich or not. You can do that whole argument, but like just a meal. I want a meal. Like going to Oklahoma Joe's is a full barbecue sit down meal. This is a hot dog. And again, I get it. Chicago dogs are more than just hot dogs. It's still a hot dog. It's a hot dog. Like, if I ever get to go to Snow's Barbecue outside of Austin, I will wait 5 hours for Snow's barbecue. I don't care. I'll wait hours for good barbecue. I will wait hours and hours. I mean, like 100%. Sign me up. If I ever get to go to Rodney Scott's in Charleston, South Carolina, I've got Rodney Scott's. I don't know, probably 4 or 5 bottles of Rodney Scott's different sauces and barbecue sauces in my pantry. If I ever get a chance to go to that in Charleston to go have a whole hog barbecue meal, I will wait 5 hours to have that. I don't care what I got to wait, but it's a meal. It's not a hot dog. It's a meal. So like, come on now. Yes. Paging Emerson for hot dog discussions. 100%. Like I would have to ask him, oh my, wait a minute. How do you know about which Portland are we talking about now? Portland, Maine or Portland, Oregon? Because the donuts in Portland, Maine are wild. I don't sing the praises of Portland, Maine very often. Oregon, okay. Because the donut shops in Portland, Maine are legit. And for somebody who's gluten-free, they got some gluten-free potato donut shops in Portland, Maine that are ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, stop traffic, wait in line. Yes, I will wait in line for those donuts. 100%. Holy Donut, they're called. One place is called Holy Donut in Portland, Maine. Phenomenal. Yeah, potato donuts, gluten-free, potato flour donuts. They're awesome. Like, awesome donuts, Addison. If you're gluten-free, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, back to the Bears game. Packers win, Bears cover. Sunday night, Kansas City laying 3.5 against the Texans. KC has kind of owned the Texans. Playoffs, not regular season. 5 straight wins for the Chiefs, and they need this one badly. They can't lose this. They lose this, season over. Okay? Essentially, it's a required win for KC. 3-2 against the spread. So do they cover? I would be careful of that. That little hook matters to me. 3.5, I would lean dog. Why? Because since November of last year, Patrick Mahomes is 9-15 against the number in 24 starts, including the playoffs. That is the least profitable quarterback in the NFL over that period of time. We're talking about a full calendar year. In the last full calendar year, Patrick Mahomes has been the least profitable quarterback to bet on. Now, there's a variety of reasons for that, right? One, it's Mahomes and Reed. So everyone's been betting on them because the number is juiced up, because the public loves to bet on the Chiefs. They think the Chiefs are going to win every game. So there's a reason for this. But it's also because they have lost a bunch of games as favorites. And people have expected them to perform and be much better than what they have. Last year, they couldn't lose 1-score games. They set the NFL record for the most wins by 1 score ever. And now they can't win a 1-score game to save their life. It all comes back, right? It all cycles back. But from a numbers perspective, it all cycles back and makes it problematic. So I'd be careful laying the 3.5 on Sunday night. If that drops down to 3, I think it gives you some protection, but I wouldn't lay the 3.5 with Kansas City, given what that game means to both teams and how it feels like a 3-point win one way or the other. And that hook would keep me off Kansas City. If you give me 3, I could lay it with the Chiefs. Cannot lay 3.5. I don't think that's a smart move at all to lay it with Kansas City. So if you guys are watching the show on replay on Sports Grid, thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. We're back tomorrow for a BetChris Thursday, BetChris Arizona Thursday. Where in the world will Adam Bjorn be? Not sure, but we'll have a ton on Dallas and Detroit. We'll get into the games involving the Chiefs and the Texans, the Ravens and the Steelers, Packers, Bears. It's a very good weekend of NFL games, and obviously monster college football slate on Saturday for all the college football championship games. We'll get to it all tomorrow with Adam Bjorn from BetChris Arizona. If you guys are watching live on either YouTube or watching on the replay on YouTube, true, both live and replay. You know what I mean? You guys get bonus time now. Who's going to be in line for the hot dog? Emerson? Maybe. Or you guys in the chat have been good today. Picturing Sports Grid editing show ends on tangent about hot dogs, barbecue, and donuts. Yep, someone's hungry. It's almost lunchtime. It's 11 o'clock. So, Adam's. Could you imagine if Adam Bjorn's he's just like, hey guys, how are you? I'm in line at the Wiener Circle in Chicago. I got on a plane. I needed to come to Chicago, so I just decided to come and hang out in the line for free hot dogs. Brooke, this one scares me. Chiefs and the Texans, 3 starters. Oh, so you're a Texans fan. We have 3 starters missing from the old line, and that Texans D is free. Oh, you're a Chief fan. Okay, that makes sense. From Omaha. That makes sense. Yeah, it should scare you. Every game for the Chiefs should scare you from now on. I mean, my gosh, look what the Chiefs are up against. That's an auto. The Chiefs are playing football. I'm nervous. That should just be part of it from here on out. That should just be 100% part of what's going on. I really don't like this slate of games to bet on today, but I do have one thought. Just the picks being brought to you by the Betting Pros Prop Bet Cheat Sheet. NBA games today. You can go look at that by downloading the Betting Pros app or going to bettingpros.com/props for it. I only have really one game I'm looking at. I'm going to bet some NBA player props later in the day, but I'm waiting on a couple of injury situations to clear up before I make some prop bets today. But I think Washington played last night, and their 15-game gift streak ended last night, goal in the first 10 minutes. And they're playing on a back-to-back here tonight in San Jose after having that streak be snapped last night. They're back at it. You can bet the gift again if you want for Washington to kind of keep it rolling, which is very possible. But I think over in the first period, San Jose is 7-3 to a first period over in their last 10 games. I think there's a good shot that we get 2 goals in the first period here, total of 6.5 in this one. So you can bet the gift, but instead I'll go ahead and take the over in the first period for Washington and San Jose. Yes. I think he's in that. Oskarov, I think was the projected starter, Addison, for last night. He was the projected starter from what I read and what I was looking at last night. So I'm pretty sure he's in net tonight for San Jose for that. But he's 4-0 to a first period over in his last 4 games. That's why I bet it. So I hope it's him. I think it's going to be him in net for San Jose coming up here for tonight. Rincone's asking, how do you do in handicapping the NBA this year? Okay. I mean, I hit last night on the only bet I got right last night was in the NBA. I had the over for OKC and the Warriors. That hit. I haven't bet much in the NBA. I've bet props in the NBA, but I haven't done a lot. I haven't done a lot with that. Eric's saying about Carter Hart making his debut yesterday for the Golden Knights. They got the win in overtime over Chicago. It's a really tough topic. It's so tough that I've really intentionally stayed away from the Carter Hart conversation with the Vegas Golden Knights. Now Vegas they need the goaltending. So it's a huge deal for the Golden Knights. They have a tremendous goalie system, a great goalie coach. They have a track record of taking players in, whether it be Logan Thompson or multiple other players who have come here and done very well. And then have moved on to go do well elsewhere. But there's a lot of people in Vegas who are really mad that Carter Hart is now back in the NHL, and they think he should not be after what happened in Canada, what happened with the sexual assault allegations. I'm not going to get into all of it here. It's really a gray area, but I know people here in town who know I'm in sports and have, asked me, well, Matt, how do you feel about this? And I really don't have an opinion. I don't have all the information. I don't have the whole story. I know what's been reported. I have read the articles. I've read interviews. I have tried to, get myself to be somewhat educated on the topic. And I really don't have a strong opinion one way or the other on Carter Hart, whether this guy is a predator and it's been swept under the rug and because he's famous and rich, he's been able to get away with this, or he's been the victim of a, false accusation and he lost two years of his career in the prime of his career. And he should not be held account to somebody else's false accusations. So I don't know. It's a tough topic for sure. Colorado is playing ridiculous. They're 11-0-1 at home. Yeah. I'm not sure. It's not sustainable not at home, at least, but it's hard to argue that the Avalanche, I mean, what they have done this year is unbelievable. Avalanche are just awesome. They're fun to watch. They're getting great goaltending. They're scoring a ton of goals. I mean, it's really early in the NHL, but they're really good. Avs are really, really good, and they're going to be difficult. They're going to be tough to stop. They're going to be tough to face every single night. They're going to be tough to face coming up here on that. Did I forget to put? No, I didn't. Okay. All right. So again, I told you I'd say this. I'll talk about this during bonus time. The Brigade shop is live. This is what you're going to see on the website, thebvbshow.com. You're going to go to our website and you're going to go and click this link to the BVB shop. It's going to take you to the BVB shop. There, the Always Forward, Never Straight Dave's collection is there. 150 items. We are already more than 50% sold out for this over this week. Okay. So the Always Forward, Never Straight collection. If you've not been with us, if you're just tuning in and you don't know what we were doing for Christmas, Dave would give his daughters cash. So to kind of fill in, obviously with the passing of Dave with his daughters, it's their first Christmas without their dad. So for us, we're going to give them each a care package. We're going to give them a hat, a t-shirt, and a hoodie, but also we're going to give them the proceeds from the sale of the 150 Always Forward, Never Straight merchandise. So we're going to do that. We're going to give it to them from us. And I will, I don't know, maybe they'll let me tape it or take pictures. I don't know, but we'll go over there before I leave on the 26th of December. So before Christmas, before that, once we're sold out, I will go over there and present it from the Brigade, from us. So, but once they're gone, they're gone. And we may at some point down the line bring back different Dave sayings and put it on hats and t-shirts. But for this purposes, we're just going to go ahead and have 150 hats, t-shirts, and hoodies that will say Always Forward, Never Straight. And once those are sold out, we will then pull them down from the store. Okay. This is more because I don't feel like it's uncomfortable for me to make money. Clearly the store is a revenue stream for the show, to keep the show going, to keep the show supported, but also it's because, well, there's somebody making it. Corbin's company is making it, and there's a manufacturer that's creating the item. So there's money being made off Dave's sayings. I'm not comfortable at all, not just me, but anybody making money off of the sayings for Dave. So in order to eliminate that uncomfortable feeling for myself, this is the way I've decided to do this, is to have 150 items, and then we'll take it down. And BVB hats, t-shirts, hoodies, all that stuff still exists. That they won't say Always Forward, Never Straight. So even if you haven't bought or gotten a chance to buy the Dave collection, if that sells out, you can still get a BVB hat. You can still get it. We'll do some more things with customization down the line. We got to figure out how this is all going to work. Like, we're still learning. Corbin and I are still kind of figuring this whole thing out as to how it's going to go. Yes, they know they're getting this. Yes. So I made an announcement on Instagram. I made an announcement on Twitter. I made an announcement on the show. Yes, they know that we're doing this. So this is definitely not something we don't have to hide. This is not like, shh, don't tell anybody. Like they know this. So they don't know how much money they're getting, obviously, but they just know that we're doing this. And it's with the blessing of the family. In case you're curious, I've been in conversation with Jessica about all of this. And so, she's well aware of what we're doing. So don't feel like this is somewhat like you can't talk about it, or you can't publicize it. You can't push it out on social. You can do all of that. So the t-shirts look like this, with Bostonian versus the book in the back, Always Forward, Never Straight. That's Dave's handwriting, with him writing Always Forward, Never Straight. And then we'll make it into hats and hoodies and whatnot. So this is going to be obviously a very difficult period of time for the family. And so we're trying to just make it a little bit easier in trying to, when you can't fill in for someone's father, but just, we're the extension, and try to say to the girls, like, hey, like, we're here for you for this holiday season. So The website is up. The store is live, thebvbshow.com. If you're curious about delivery, I think we're going to try to put Corbin on the show on Friday. So he can talk about all this stuff. I wanted to go the whole week. And then so Corbin will come in on Friday on the show for a couple of minutes and kind of explain everything. I've said, like, let's do a live hit from his store, from where he is, and he can show a couple of the items and what he's doing. So stay tuned on Friday. Coming up on that. Yeah, Addison, it hits me in waves too. Like that happens to me like daily. I'll be driving in the car. So, like, not to get too personal with you guys, but like, so on my phone, you know how you can put like I don't know what they call it on iPhone, but like it's your VIPs, the important people, the people that you talk to all the time. And like Dave's always been there for, I don't know, 5 years. Dave's been like, for as long as the iPhone has let you do that, Dave has been there. And like, I was talking to Amanda a couple days ago, and I was like, I don't know what to do with my phone, but like every time I open my phone, I see Dave, and like it hits me just at random periods of time. It'll just hit me, and I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for the emotion. So I'm like, should I take that off my phone? And like, whenever I've tried to go and do that, I can't do it. Like I can't do it. Yes. Pinning texts. Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That, this, when you open up that, when you have all that. So, I have Amanda, and then my daughter, and then Dave. Dave's been ahead of my mom and my sister in terms of where he has been on that. So like, I can't take that off. I can't delete it. I've got 4 years of text messages, more than that. I don't even, I don't even know when that thread began. That'd be kind of an interesting experiment as to how far back does that text thread go with Dave. I don't know. It's at least 4 years, if not more. Could go all the way back to 2019. Like it could go all the way back to that. So yeah, I'm with you on that. When it just hits you, it's like, geez, I wasn't ready for that. It's tough. Favorite thing about today? For me, the favorite thing about today is that it's you guys. I mean, Corbin keeps on giving me these updates as to what's happening with the store. And he keeps on saying, like, my gosh, like this is going fast. Like you guys, like things are being purchased. You guys are buying. And I knew it was going to go like this, and it won't always be like this, but a huge thank you to you guys for us to be able to do this, and for Christmas, and to be able to give this to the girls. I think it's going to be a really special moment that I'm going to get to be able to give it to them, and to the family. I know for Jessica, as with anybody who had lost, the love of their life, and someone who was their best friend, someone who she's been with since she was a teenager, there's, a lot of emotion going through the Christmas, Thanksgiving, going to concerts, going to sporting events. She took the girls to a hockey game last week, and it was kind of like, my God, like just seeing the four of them and then not seeing Dave, like there's just something not right, something not there. So I really do thank you guys for what you've done here with the store out of the gate, to help us. Again, I want to reiterate this. I know I keep on saying this, but it's important to me to you guys understand that this is not a fundraiser. We're not raising money for the family. We've already done that. We did the GoFundMe already. So I don't want people to think that like, oh, you're asking for money again for the family, Matt. Like we're not, this is not a fundraiser. This is a gift. Okay. So understand that what we're doing, we're giving a gift at Christmas to the 3 Sherapan daughters, 3 Sherapan girls. So that's, to be clear, that's what we're doing for the t-shirts. So, and you guys have wanted BBB hats and t-shirts for a very long time. So I'm very happy to be able to provide those to you guys. So now when anybody asks, how do I get a hat? How do I get a t-shirt? There's now finally, after 4 years, because coming up on, let's see, we are what? Today is the 3rd. We are exactly 2 weeks away from the 4-year anniversary of this show starting. December 17th, 2021, excuse me, was when this show started. I moved to Vegas on December the 5th, officially December the 5th, in 2015. 15. I then went back and got all my stuff and drove it all, but I officially signed a lease on December 5th, 2015. And I officially moved permanently with all my stuff on the, what was it? I think it was like January 2nd, I think. No, because I was here for that New Year's Eve. So I was here on December 30th. So this is my 10-year anniversary of being in Las Vegas, which is so wild to think about that I've been here in Vegas for 10 years because it's gone like a blink. But so much has happened in those 10 years. Madeline was 1 year old when I moved here, and she's 11 now. It's like, whoa, things went fast. So we're 2 weeks away from the anniversary until we finally, after 4 years, have a store. Like, yeah, we were behind. We were late, just a little. We were late. So, thank you for everything you guys are doing with the store and buying it. Really cool. TheBVBShow.com if you guys want to check it out. Tomorrow is a Bet Chris Arizona Thursday. Adam Bjorn. I have no idea where he will be. I'm going to say Costa Rica, but we'll see where he is tomorrow to break down everything happening in the NFL and a huge college football weekend as well. Big conversations coming tomorrow about everything happening behind the counter for the weekend, the football betting weekend tomorrow for a Thursday's Bostonian versus the Book.